I would call Sabrine, my best friend. I would call collect almost every night and just hold the phone. I had some sort of stress condition, so my nose would constantly bleed. I had trichotillomania, which means like I was pulling out my eyebrows and my eyelashes. Like it was not okay.
This is ninth grade? This is ninth grade?
This is ninth grade.
So you were just stressed. You were fully stressed and depressed. Bleeding nose and pulling out eyelashes and eyebrows. And you'd call her just to like hear her breath or talk to her or what?
It was the only way I could go to sleep. So I would be in our phone booth.
Oh my.
And we would just hold the phone.
What a good friend.
Yeah. And the fact that her dad understood that.
We spend a lot of time looking at where people end up. This show is about what happened on the way there. I'm Topaz Adizes, the founder of The Skin Deep in the End, and I want to bring you on a journey here. And I've sat with enough people to know that nobody gets there easy. In every conversation here, we get under the skin, exploring what life does to a person and what a person does with life. There's a great quote that I love, which is, the purpose of life is to discover your gift. The work of life is to develop it. And the meaning of life is to give that gift away. This is about the work, it's about discovering your gift, it's about developing it and exploring how you give it away. What do we do with life? What does life do with us? It isn't always pretty, but it's always real. And hopefully it's useful for wherever you are in your point of your journey.
Kristen V. Carter arrived in the world as the fifth generation of her family. 20 years of breaking through rooms she was never meant to be in taught Kristen to fight for what's hers, until the day her grandmother's voice asked a question she couldn't answer, and she realized that fighting for what's yours is a very different thing than from living from joy. Kristen V. Carter. Today, we get under the skin.
Thank you. I'm just looking forward to all the possibilities. We'll probably get into it, but I'm in a complete career redefining right now. Really, my life has flipped 180 completely. So my values are definitely still the same. And I know we'll talk about that. But just in terms of how I'm sharing my gifts with the world, I think is a bit different. And also me asking the question, if I was still doing what I was doing years ago, would I have met Dre? Would we be at this place of preparing for marriage? I don't know if that answer would be yes. And I'm really, really intrigued by that life meets you right where you are. And when you allow your joy and your values to define where you're going to go, you make a lot of different choices and you make a lot of different decisions to make sure that your joy is on 10. So I'm excited to get into it all.
Well, you're in a transformational window right now, but if you had not done what you were doing, you would not have met Dre and opened up this opportunity for marriage.
I don't think so.
So tell me about that. So it's interesting. So the person you were put you in a position to meet Dre, which is a great thing because you're choosing to build a family and get married, in a few months, 5 months to them. The old version of you is what brought you to Dre. So what is that about?
So I can definitely explain that. So
break it up.
So I would say I have been a creative my entire life. I was in television production for 2 decades. And at a point when I reached my highest title, which is showrunner and executive producer, I realized I was not enjoying that. So you spend all of this time focused on, yes, I want to lead people and I want to encourage people, and that's great. But on the other side of that is I was met with a lot of resistance from different partners that I was working with. I am typically the youngest, the only Black woman, or all 2 or 3, like youngest, Black, and a woman. Yeah, so all 3. And so I kept meeting that. My last couple of projects, I just felt like I had a lot of resistance in the room when I was talking with decision makers. And I said to myself, one, I didn't think this was going to feel the way it's feeling right now, where I'm not able to creatively achieve what I'm here to achieve. As a showrunner, your job is to execute a vision. I have a vision, but my vision often was different than my clients. And honestly, you realize most people don't even know what they want. So I'm trying to give them something. I'm trying to give them what I want. Or maybe, does this answer your question? Does this answer your question? And understanding like, people are operating out of fear. So no one wants to make a decision. But I wanted to. And so I was finding myself in that position my last couple of shows. This was partnered with my grandmother passed away in 2021. And she had passed from COVID. That particular summer, she and I had COVID at the same time. I was on the West Coast in LA. She was in Georgia. I don't know how this ended up syncing up. I don't know how I got COVID. We have an idea about where she got it. But essentially, I was in the hospital August 5th. I got out August 6th. She went in August 7th and she passed away on the 24th. It was that fast. And so I'm in the midst of feeling the way that I do professionally. My grandmother passes away, which I always say when you have a matriarch or a patriarch pass away, it's almost like you extracted a tooth and your teeth are shifting. It felt like my entire family was shifting at the same time. And then also that was coupled with I was unhappy romantically, trying to figure out how to date and accepting less than God's best and just in situationships. And yeah, I think everything just came pummeling down at the same time. And I got to the point where I said, I am not happy. That was the very first time in my life. So this had to be, if my grandmother passed away 2021, middle of 2022, I had landed for myself. I am unhappy. I have never in my life
said that.
Just said that. And it really scared me to my core.
Tell me about that moment. And also tell me, like, that must have been shocking for you because it seems like you are not that kind of person.
Right.
Who's like, you're always positive, open. You've been, and then what led you to that moment? What happened? Was that you're on a walk? You're washing dishes? Like, what happened when you're like, holy shit, like, I'm not happy.
So my grandmother used to always ask me, do you love what you do? And so I heard my Nana's voice. Do you still love what you do? And I said, Nana, not like this.
Well, where were you? What were you doing? Where were you? What
I was
were you
in
doing?
my room. I was in my room cleaning. I think I pretty much feel pretty channeled in when I'm cleaning, when I'm in the shower, when I'm walking or driving. So one of the four. And I was cleaning. And she said, do you love what you do? And I was like, not like this. I was like, Nana, I need to change and I don't even know what to do. And around that time when I was cleaning, maybe a day later, I was going through a shoebox of cards and I found a card from my grandmother. And she said,
in the card, she had written on the card.
She had written in the card. Yeah. So this was a birthday card. The birthday before she passed, I found this card. Like it slipped out of my closet or slipped out of this shoebox from my closet. And it was basically like, I love you more than you know. I mean, it was just a lot of amazing things that she said, but it really landed. It is up to me to create the joy that I want. But it was a series of things, Topaz, like literally in a day or two in my house where she was just talking to me. I just could feel her spirit. And so that at that moment, I said, I need to get really quiet because I didn't know what to do. So I was like, I have to get really quiet. And so I made a conscious choice that I was not going to dig into anything creative, try to sell a project. I said, you know what? I need to just do fun things. So I was hiking, going to yoga, doing dance classes, game nights. I would bring people over. Hey, do you want to just hang out and connect? And that took maybe about 4 or 5 months. That 4 or 5 months. And then the show that I'm actually referring to, that show ended. It got canceled around the strike. And I said to myself, if the joy is not on 10, it's out of here. And I now live by that. So that's been several years. That is my litmus test. And so that is how I was able to get the situationships out of here. Like guys I really liked that I thought I had a future with, but I'm saying guys, like how can I have 2 guys that you got to know. And I didn't know for a while, but I had to have some very clear conversations. And around that same time, I also went to my agent and I said, listen, I think I might quit TV if I don't find a show that is right up my alley that I feel like is going to be joyful. And I we wound up finding a gospel show that I executive produced. And because of the connections, both personally and professionally, because it was a strike, I was able to hire all people I love. I asked my pastor, would he be a part of the team? It was just really special, Topaz. And so that was a real palate cleanser for me. So that particular show, and again, I'm highlighting this because it wasn't actually about the job. It was about what I was showing up. It was about what I was showing up with. I wanted to just full throttle, have a great time, work with people I love, be very forward in terms of the vision that I had. So the format that I pitched is actually the show that made air, which is so rare. We had partners that really trusted me. I trusted them. And so what that produced inside of me was trusting the fact that if I live by my joy, that I will continue to build. I still have part of this story to share. So after doing that show, which they had no notes.
Wait, we'll come back right in. But that's a big thing, eh? So what I'm hearing in that is that you change your question from maybe whatever the question could have been, like, am I going to be successful in other people's eyes? Am I going to whatever it is, you're drop that whole, and the question became, is this joy of 10? Yes, I do it. If no, I drop it. It became like a yes/no question. Yes. And it's all based on joy. Is this a joy of 10?
Absolutely.
And then that led you to making this show with the people you love. And okay, got it. And so, great.
Right. And so after that show, a friend of mine who had just gotten married a few months prior, she said to me, Kristen, I didn't tell a lot of people this, but I met my husband after having a dating coach. And I said, you know what? You are a friend that I've had. She's my first friend that I've ever had in LA. And I said, because you said that, I'll get a dating coach. I was just living listen, I'm going to try new things. And I had such a blast and went on first dates, really heard where guys were coming from.
Like a dating coach, would they go on the dates with you? Would they prep you? Like
no.
what?
They basically helped me fine tune my non-negotiables. You find out the difference between non-negotiables and preferences. Also, just being very clear and spending more time listening to someone else than having you just rattle on to a guy and give them all this information. I'm able to actually ask really clear questions and hear, is this guy family oriented, marriage minded for himself? It has nothing to do with me. And so I had such a blast on all these first dates for 2 months. And then I go on this Gospel Live promotional tour, which I created. My now fiance, at the time, we did not know each other well, but he saw that I was on the tour and he said, hey, I would love to meet you. And we had been connected because of what had happened with his family. And I had stayed in touch. We had just stayed in touch. And so he said, hey, I would love to meet you. I'm like, sure. But the only day that we could meet was Valentine's Day. And he said, are you sure that's all right? I was like, sure. Like it's a noon date. So I get there.
It's a noon date? High noon?
So
high noon. Wait, what does that mean? He's like, is it right? You're like, yeah, it's all right. It's a noon date, meaning like nothing's going to go down because it's in the middle of the day. It's like, what does that mean?
So to me, lunch at noon just means, we'll be done by like 1:30. He's just meeting me. Right. We're meeting to just say thank you and
it's like
to look each other in the face. Right. Yeah. So we get talking and I'm buzzing. I'm sharing like, oh my gosh, I'm on this tour. I just finished this show I love. I just finished working with a dating coach. And Dre is looking at me like, so what have you learned from your dating coach? And I'm telling him. He's like, how many guys are you talking to? I said, I'm talking to 4 guys, but they ain't nobody. So then he goes, well, what's ain't nobody? And so I'm explaining the types of people that I'm meeting. And I'm having a good time just recognizing, this guy isn't necessarily for me, but I really enjoy being able to ask certain questions directly. So I'm rattling on. He's telling me about his personal life. And some hours go by and our waitress says, hey, like, we have reservations for the rest of the day. So we've loved serving you. And we look down and we've been talking for 4 hours. Topaz, I was shocked. Like, wait, 4:00 already? How did this even happen? And understanding I had not looked at my phone. I had not looked around. We were both locked in. And that's when I was like, oh, is there something else? Is there something else going on here? And so because it was traffic, Dre just said, well, I don't want to be stuck in traffic. I don't want to be stuck in traffic. Do you want to keep hanging out? So we hung out for 12 hours and we've been together ever since.
Oh, till midnight, 12 to 12.
Yeah, 12 to 12.
On Valentine's.
On Valentine's.
That's amazing.
When Dre arrived in my life, I have often said, oh, it's not because a good man finally arrived.
Mm-hmm.
It was paying attention and noticing and being in a space where I could say,
yeah,
oh, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
So you were transforming already, put you in a position to meet Dre. And now you're in a new transition happening. Is that because Dre's in your life? And what is this new transition?
So I believe this new transition I believe I called it forward, but I also believe it's a response to life in general. So it's twofold.
Mm-hmm.
So after I met Dre and I finished promoting Gospel Live, we were in the middle of, we had just ended the strike. Like professionally, the actors and writers strike had just happened and a lot of different production jobs were drying up. Also, I had made a clear decision to myself that I did not want to accept shows where I was working with teams that might not trust. There's not a lot of trust there with us. So, and let me know if you need me to clarify anything like that. But when you're working with networks and production companies, especially in a season of scarcity and a season of fear, there's no decisions being made. So even though I come in and I'm first on the call sheet as the showrunner, I'm not able to execute because the people that I'm reporting to are still scared.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take myself out of those equations. So in 2024, I made a very conscious move to not accept certain opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
This is at the same time establishing a long distance relationship. So I was able to travel to DC and back, and so was Dre, because I had more time on my hands.
One thing I'm hearing there too is that you're starting to say no to things. Again, it's like, it's not Joy 10, it's out. But here you're also saying no to opportunities. And sometimes when we say no to opportunities, it's actually saying yes to other ones that we don't see that are around the corner.
Absolutely. After I finished Gospel Live, my college, so I'm basically one of the alums that comes back to speak to students every year. I was told that they're going to be expanding an LA program. Students that are in the School of Communications, which is the same school that I was in, they come here for a week-long program. They did that for 10 years. I spoke at that program every year. They said to me, oh, we want to do a semester long and we're looking for a site director, but we're looking for a site director that has a master's degree, and they rattled off all these qualifications. I then sent an email and said, hey, I know that I do not fit the typical description, but here's the description that I have. 20 years of experience. Obviously, I already have a relationship with you all. XYZ. I would love to be considered. I send that and wait. So everything is rolling in a completely different direction.
Mm-hmm,
I haven't said anything about a show. I've declined a couple of things like, oh, I'm not really interested in that. I ultimately land the opportunity as the site director for this program. And when that happened, I understood, oh, what I've always had on my vision board as being an educator and entertainment, like an edutainer. Oh, it's happening right now. I thought that would be happening when I'm 55, 60, but at 40, this is starting.
Right.
I've spoken through the years. I've done workshops through the years, but for this to be divinely crafted for me, but also for me to say yes to it, because again, they didn't come to me saying, we want you to be the site director. I said, I want to be the site director.
Mm-hmm,
Then when the opportunity happened, I spelled out, well, here's my vision.
Yeah.
That's what I have been doing for the last few years. I'm now a high school educator. I'm now building my brand Trust Your Magic and doing professional development workshops. So now I'm in a completely different phase, thinking about what gives me joy. Again, bottom lining, what gives me joy? I love connecting people. I love making sure that folks get hired. So the same skills that I was using as a showrunner, I use now, but in a different way.
Okay. Thank you for sharing all that. Let's take a slight sidestep.
Sure.
I want to go a little bit. We don't have to go there if you don't want, but I'd like to know how death has informed your life.
That's a great question. So the passing of Nana really rocked me.
Your grandma.
Really, yeah. Mm-hmm. And
I can feel it now still. Yeah.
Yeah. And witnessing my mom's response, my uncle's response, my aunt's response, and understanding that our roles needed to shift in that time. So I've always been the baby, if you will. No one treats me like a baby, but I'm the youngest in our line. And I realized that there were so many raw emotions that I needed to step in and be supportive. So what that looked like was suggesting family therapy, suggesting certain types of conversations, being involved in Nana's estate because...
But this was a few years ago, right? So
this is 2021.
Is that the first big death that's occurred in your constellation?
That I would say rocked me like that. I've had other deaths, but where it really brought me back to center eventually. You know, like initially that first 3 months, I'm like crying every night. I go on my Netflix account. Nana and I shared a Netflix account. So just seeing her name like, or like certain things happening where after she passed, I felt like I started actually winning a lot of awards and being recognized. I'm like, Nana would have loved... She would have loved to be here. She would be screaming in the audience, "That's my baby." You know, when Gospel Live happened, she would have been standing up, cheering the whole time. And I think about those things and thought about those things. Even with Dre, oh my gosh. I tell him all the time, she would have fattened you up with a whole bunch of red velvet cakes. For sure. Just the pride. Even now, I can feel the pride, but it's different when you have it in your physical experience and your spiritual experience. It's different. I've had other deaths, and like my best friend's mom passed when we were 10. I've known my best friend since I was 6 years old. She's actually my maid of honor. And when her mom passed when we were 10, her mom and dad were the first parents I ever saw. It was the very first time.
What do you mean the first parents you ever saw?
So what I mean by that is my mom is a single mom, and I never saw parents together, like a mom and dad happily together. And I remember when we were in second grade, I used to go to their house, not just to play with Sabrine, but like to watch her parents. I was in awe. And so when her mom passed, I remember how that fractured their family, but also for me, I wrote notes by hand and would leave them on my living room table to her. I would write to Miss Carol and put a note on the table, and I would wake up and it would be gone. I really was like, oh my gosh, Miss Carol came and took my letter. You know, now I'm sure my mom took it, but that to me was devastating because I'd written papers, like through the years, I wrote papers about them because it was the first parental unit I had ever witnessed.
What would you write in the letters?
There's one particular one. So other things are like in my journal, but the one I'm referring to was right when Miss Carol passed. And I was writing to her how I felt about Sabrine. Like I wanted their family to be okay, and like asking why she left and that kind. Yeah. I don't remember specifically, but I had those types of questions. But the thing that I appreciate is that I actually knew to write it down. Like I knew to speak to spirit And that's very interesting to me, as I'm telling you, because there was no doubt in my mind she was going to receive it.
Even at that age, you knew it.
Even at that age.
5th grade.
If we go way, way back, it would be that one. And then if you want to go even further than that, so my middle name is Victoria. I'm named after my great-great-grandmother. And when I was born, because my mom had me at 21, we had my mom, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my great-great-grandmother. So I'm the 5th generation. And so I lived with my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother. So when people would come to visit the eldest in the family, they would also come to visit the youngest in the family.
Wow.
And so that having that at such a young age, I think describes why I'm an old soul, and probably describes why I talk about my ancestors so fluidly and vividly, because I feel Granny, my great-great-grandmother, I feel Granny's presence very clearly. And so she passed when I was 4.
You were born in a household with your mom, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, and her mother?
Yes.
So it's 5 generations in the same house?
Well,
Or
if you want to be, I'm going to say if you want to get technical, but yes. So there's a period of time where I lived with my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother.
Wow. So for you, that was it was very informative in that early age, first 4 years, that like you could see 4 generations back. You could see your mom and dad, and it's like very clear line. So you think that kind of, so that seems like it suggests that you had like spirit for you is just earlier lineage generations that were there, that were a moment ago physical, and then.
Yes. So if we go way back, so even if I tilt my laptop, there's a 5 generations picture above me. That's purposeful. You know, there's actually a picture of my granny's father on the wall as well. So my great-great-great-grandfather. So those, I'm getting chills right now. Like, they live on. Their guidance is so clear to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you say it's really clear to you, like what is really clear? The messages, the feeling, the knowing that you're part of a line. What is really clear?
All of it. I'm hearing right now the power of that. So when I step in a room, it's not about me. It's about all the generations that have come before me. So even when I think about getting married and what that means, and how many women in my family did not marry because of love, and to reset that for my family, to truly reset that for them and for me. When I got really honest in 2022 and 2023, I remember I did a lot of work around generational healing and saying to the generations that I'm the one to reset this. Like, no more abuse, no more this, no more that. This is what it's going to be. And for me to meet Dre months later, like, what? Crazy.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be at this point in my life, even in rebuilding other things, but to know for sure that Dre is my partner for life. And we're we are resetting things for his family, but for me to feel that daily is really, really wild.
From the age of 4, when your great-great-grandmother passed, Victoria, to throughout your childhood and young age, like you had a relationship with spirit and you felt it close. So the fact that your Nana died and you're cleaning out your house and the card comes out and it gives you a message, that's not new for you. Like being in communication with spirit and reading the signs, if you will, is something that you steeped in you as a young age?
Yes. The reason why the card still rang differently was because of the type of season I was in and the type of that particular week. So when that happened, and I just burst into tears because I just felt like nobody can tell me that we're not guided. I praise the Heavenly Father, but there are also ancestors that come before us that want to see us win, that want to support us, that want to give us lessons. And I do believe that they are in full support. And all of that energy, I think, is what, if you listen, transitions you in different seasons. And so when I was younger, my mom used to always say, you have a hedge of protection around you. And I think those types of phrases, that type of guidance, like Granny would always say when I was a baby, she used to say to people like, she's either going to be a whole lot of something or a whole lot of nothing. And those kinds of stories, like when Granny passed, and she said to my mom and my grandmother and my great-grandmother, like, I really hope that Kristen remembers me. And they said, we'll make sure that she does. And so I've had those stories. Even when I go down south now, everyone always talks about when I was a baby. And I love those stories because Granny's included in that. You know, like Granny's sister is included in that. The cousins that I'm closest with, all of that lineage, all of those blessings and those lessons, like I know they prayed over me. I know they prayed for me. I know that they asked God to protect me. And to live that out is like my mom says all the time, like, I'm her answered prayer. I feel that. I feel it every day. And I'm so grateful for that guidance. I'm grateful for the nudges. So I can walk you through stories in my life where people are like, well, how did that happen? Oh, I got a nudge and I followed it. Listen, like so many people like don't listen, or even we may be told like, oh, you only are getting direction from the Father. I'm like, that's not, I don't get into debates about that kind of stuff because
when you say the Father, you mean like Heavenly Father?
Like God. Like, yeah. Like I do think you have to discern who's speaking to you. So you can't let everybody speak. So what I mean by that is like everybody that passes, I don't get messages from everybody that passes because that's not what I allow. But I know for sure Granny speaks to me. I know for sure Nana speaks to me. I feel my loved ones in support. They are in full celebration with me.
That's beautiful. It makes me think of my time when I spent in Aotearoa, New Zealand with the Maori. Have you ever spent time in that culture?
No.
Oof. So, have you ever seen them do a hungi? I mean, you know that it's very kind of well known. They do the haka, kind of. That's kind of like
I've heard.
Right. You see that with the All Blacks. They do a haka, but there's also a greeting when they meet. They sing songs. There's actually a cultural way of meeting, and part of that is in the meeting, but even as a hello, is a hungi. Hungi is when you touch your forehead to forehead, nose to nose. Kind of, you've seen that when people like put their forehead to nose, and that's their way of greeting. And from my understanding of what that means, is that the forehead to forehead means that it's not just us who are meeting here. It's our lineage. Like all the lineage had to happen so that this moment could happen.
Absolutely.
And then the nose to nose and the inhale together and now we breathe the same breath. And that acknowledgement suggests too that this moment is special. And that a lot of things had to happen to bring us to this moment. And in that way, there's a kind of for me, there's a sense of responsibility, like, hey, an acknowledgement of all the things so let's take this moment in, and this moment of connection, this moment of meeting. I'm representing my lineage. You're representing yours.
Absolutely.
And we're bringing all that to this moment. And all of a sudden that moment becomes so much richer and meaningful. And also the kind of conversation we have is different. Because if you're aware of your lineage, then you're also inevitably thinking about the future because you know you're the next
Yes.
part that becomes the lineage. They say that the
Absolutely.
Maori, there's a saying that the Maoris walk into the future backwards because they're aware of their line. If you're aware of your line, that means inevitably you're also aware that you're going to be soon part of the line. So what is 7 generations ahead going to be doing? You know? And it's just, yeah. And so my question to you here is, how do you feel about becoming an ancestor? How do you feel about having a next line and raising the next line if you decide to have that, whatever shape, form? How do you feel about that?
I love that question. And the fact that it's the second time I've been asked what type of ancestor do I want to be within the last month is like, wow, life's so incredible. The type of ancestor that I want to be is resourceful, joyful, present, and visible in a spiritual way. I'm so grateful that my ancestors show up in the way that they do, but they also show up because I'm open to it. I also get that.
Is there a way to do that?
I think it is literally saying I'm available.
It's as easy as
I'm willing
that.
to listen. Yeah. I'm willing to listen. Heavenly Father, guide me, but also allow me to be open to the lessons that I'm supposed to experience. You'll get them.
I also hear in that, this goes back to the very beginning when you're telling the story about discovering that you're not happy. And you're like, is part of that is just deciding to do nothing. Part of hearing and listening is stopping to do. You know? I mean,
Yeah.
I find, when was the last time? Before COVID, there was a few times in my life as an adult where it felt crazy. And I don't mean like everything now feels crazy, frankly. Social media, like everything's like, what the,
Right.
but there was a time before COVID, and I feel like there's a whole world before COVID and after COVID. I just felt like in the family and in my life, things felt hectic. And they felt maybe aggressive. I had a challenge with my brother or sibling or this or that, or concern about my dad. It just felt overwhelming. It felt like I was in a washing machine, just jumbled about to the point that you don't know which way is up or out. You don't even know. You're just like, what? And so somehow a voice came, is like, okay, when that happens, do nothing. Like, let go, do nothing, and do nothing, and do nothing, do nothing until, because so the faster, crazier things move around you, the less and less you do.
It's the surrender. I've had some pretty pivotal moments. I would consider the 2022-2023 season of my life one of the top 2 most meaningful transitions.
There's another one?
My other one wasn't. Yeah, there's another one in high school.
What happened there?
Yeah. So I went to a boarding high school. So I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey, car capital of the country. And I had gone to 10 different elementary schools. My mom was trying to figure out what type of gifted and talented program to put me in. Like I mentioned before, I skipped and started school early. But also there was a lot of turmoil going on. My mom was trying to figure out her identity, so we moved a lot. But she always wanted the best for me. And so by the time I got to 8th grade, maybe 7th grade, by the time I got to 7th grade, I applied to be a part of a scholarship program called A Better Chance. And it's a national program for students in the inner city and underprivileged neighborhoods to go to these elite schools. But where I got my full scholarship was a school called Groton School. It's a top 10 school. And what comes with that, and the reason I say that, what comes with that is I'm going to school with governor's kids, corporate America's kids.
Yeah. Was
So
this
I'm
a
one of
boarding school?
7. Yes, it's a boarding school.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Groton, Massachusetts. So I was one of 7 Black students in my class. There were maybe like 1 or 2 Black students in every other grade. So like our grade had the most Black students. And what comes with that, not only is the social challenge and social difference, but also teachers looking to pick you apart. And it's these subtle things. So when I first got to Groton, I remember a guidance counselor asking me if I needed to take a test for a learning disability because my grades had dropped. What happened? Everyone's grades drop when you first get to boarding school because you're just trying to figure out what's going on. But it's those nitpicking things that are happening. So I was there 8th through 12th grade. So I repeated 8th grade so that I could actually be in my age group. Because again, I had skipped and started school early. So I did 8th grade in Newark. They asked me to do 8th grade again at Groton. And I'm so glad that I did. So I repeated 8th grade. And by the time I had finished 9th grade, I was like fully, I didn't realize I was depressed. Like I wouldn't have categorized it as that. But my grades had plummeted. I really was a shell of myself. The way that I'm talkative now, I've always been talkative. So like I was not very vocal at that time. Puberty had hit me pretty hard. So I was no longer like, to me, I didn't feel like I had a dancer's body per se because I grew up dancing. And I really was just trying to get through. Like I just had like, not surrender. I had just been like, you know what? I'm just trying to get my diploma. So but that particular year, I would call Sabrine, my best friend. I would call her at like 11 o'clock at night. I would call collect almost every night and just hold the phone. My nose would be bleeding. So I had some sort of stress condition. So my nose would constantly bleed. I had trichotillomania, which means like I was pulling out my eyebrows and my eyelashes. Like it was not okay.
So this is 9th grade? This is 9th grade?
This is 9th grade.
So you were just stressed. You were fully stressed and depressed. And that was manifesting in bleeding nose and pulling out eyelashes and eyebrows. And you'd call her just to like hear her breath or talk to her or what?
We would be asleep. It was the only way I could go to sleep. So I would be in our phone booth.
Oh my.
And we would just hold the phone.
What a good friend.
Yeah. And the fact that her dad understood that, because I was calling to collect. So he's getting all these phone bills. He never said a thing. I was calling all the time. So I finish. So my mom's like irate. She comes up to the school because I'm still going through it. She quits her job the summer after my 10th grade year, and she decides to basically do a boot camp with me. I had to read the autobiography of Malcolm X. I read a book called Excellence Without Excuse.
Hold on. Tell me, what do you mean by a boot camp? She decided to do a boot camp. Like, what do you mean?
So I had to go. Well, I can talk you through it. So I had to run 2 miles a day. I chanted affirmations while I ran. There were certain books I needed to read. So she created a book list for me.
This is between like 10th and 11th grade, like summertime?
Yes.
She quit her job and just focused on you.
Yes. As a single parent. Yes. Because I was a shell of myself around that time. And she said, I did not send you to Groton for this. I sent you for a good education and for you to become the leader that you are.
Ooh.
And we did that summer. And I chanted like, I want to take Groton by storm. Like I used to just say that, like, I need to be who I am. I'm an A student. Why am I getting C's and D's? Like my grade point average was like a 70. And I wrote down all the goals that I had. And I went back to that school and my grade point average rose 13 points. I ran 6 different clubs. I started different clubs. And the entire faculty, my advisor would come to me and be like, we talk about you at every faculty meeting. What happened? And I said, my mom made me believe in myself. That's the difference. And that changed my entire life. Because people are going to say things about you. They're going to criticize you. They're going to say you can't do it. They're going to pick you apart. You have to believe in yourself. And I call on that every time that I'm going through something. I'm like, I have to believe in myself. I have to believe more than what's going on right now. And the whole faculty was like, what happened to Kristen Carter? I was running that school. Yeah, I'm one of the most successful students, but why? Nobody cared. My scholarship program didn't care until I started winning awards. Because that year, that's when I became a business owner. I started a business that year.
A junior in high school.
Yeah. I studied abroad. Hated it. I just wanted to be at home. Hated it. But my mom saw enough to stop what she was doing and to say, I have to pull my child forward. And so when I think about what my friends and like so many people have come to us through the years, like moms and daughters, and I'm so grateful my mom loved me enough to say, I got to focus on, because I'm losing my child. I'm losing the gift. Like the light is like, I got to ignite. We got to get to it. And that happened and it changed my entire life. But that is my most defining moment. My second most defining moment is what just happened in 2022 and 2023.
You mentioned like edutainment and educator, and here it is at 40 or whatnot. Seems like that came in that summer. Like you believe in yourself, but it's very clear that like it's not just about you in the room. So what hits me too is that it's clear to your mom, it's not just about her in the room. It's about the future line. It's about the lineage continuing, and you are that light, and that fire was going out, and she will put everything on hold to make sure that the ember doesn't go out.
Exactly. And when my mom talks about Groton, she talks about the year that I graduated. And so the Alliance had a meeting with all of us and all of the Black students and their parents. And every single parent was like, Kristen looked out for my child. Every single person in that room was like, Kristen was the first person I talked to. She's my mentor. She's who I go to. Like, so when you say lineage, yeah, I'm really proud. I'm really, really proud. Because so many people will try to count you out when we talk about DEI and all this bullshit. You know, like, I brought the diversity. I know the students, Kia Washington and Pia Raymond and the young women that I used to reach out to when they graduated. Because I said, I'm really going through it at Groton. I don't know what to do. Like, but I see your picture in the yearbook, so I know I can do it because you did it. That's what I hope to be for young people, that they look through the yearbook and they go, if Kristen Carter is who she is, because I want Black students and students of all races, but particularly our young people from the inner city. I want them to go, oh man, if she did it, I can do it. And also understand that I'm telling you these stories and our ancestors have had it way harder. Like, I can't even imagine. I'm so moved by their hearts and their stamina and their perseverance to fight through so much. Sure, I've had a fight. Sure, people that I know have had a fight, but their fight, I'm so moved by them and want to continue to pull from that. But that experience at Groton, that where someone's trying to chip, not someone, but a system, a construct is trying to chip at you. And again, what I'm referring to from 2022 and 2023 is the same stuff. you're the only one in the room or one of few in the room, and they're trying to chip at you. I know my voice, so you can't do that. So either we're going to be in the same space or we're not. And that was the difference when I said, I need to change rooms because this system is set up in a way that this is purposeful. And I need to go in other spaces where I feel welcomed and respected. Sure, I can continue to fight the good fight. But at that point where my grandmother passed and I was looking for love, I was like, you're not going to chip at my self-esteem, but I need to change rooms. So that's where there's some similarities.
Ooh. That was I just experienced the whole thing right there. Thank you so much for that.
I'm so grateful. But that experience is what has shaped my life and has shaped how I show up in spaces.
And what do you feel is that gift? Like, what's that gift and how are you sharing that? Like, is it to teach people to bulldoze through? Like, what is it? What's the gift?
Yeah. You have to have a certain come from. It's not just about, so like,
what do you mean? What do you mean come from? What do you mean?
Like a certain, your why. Why do you do what you do? You know, as a showrunner, why do I fight for people's rates and titles? Because you deserve it, because you have the value, because I'm not going to let somebody else try to dictate who you are. It's that same fabric. What we trying to do to actually connect with people? Because if I connect with people, I know that there's going to be an opportunity on the next side. And that doesn't necessarily, I'm not even talking about monetary, but I know that you're going to want to feel this energy. So we're going to share space. We're going to share common space because we've got to uplift each other. We've got to get to the next point. So I'm grateful to share my why with you because I can share it calmly. But when you think about 4 years old, 12 years old. Because again, I went to boarding school at 12. So 12 years old, I graduated from that school when I was 17. And once I graduated, like really, sure, I've had other challenges, but nothing really rocked me again until I was 38. Like, so I went a full
38, meaning like when Nana died and you're cleaning your room out.
Yes.
It's great because it's like adversity is where we grow, right? It's like a big challenge and you face it. So like you have that. And then what I hear your statement was like, I'm going to get what's mine. And I'm not going to let anyone else define what's mine. Like I'm going to get what's mine. And then that worked for 20 years. Then you're 38 and you're like, I'm kind of getting what's mine, but maybe that's not even the game. Maybe that's not even the game, like getting what's mine. Because maybe in some sense, because they say no, I'm thinking, oh, that's what I want. Like, I want to make these TV shows, but they're telling me no, but actually, is that even what I really want? And at 38, you're like, wait a sec. This whole thing of I'm going to get what's mine, but it's like, is it what's mine? Is it because they're saying it's no and now I'm going to get it to prove them wrong? Now you're like, get a shift where it's like, it's not even about that. It's joy. Forget about. Because even playing for what's mine is like playing a paradigm of what someone else says you can have or not. And you're like, boop. Like, actually, wait, what's behind that? Joy. Right. And now your whole other question is like, but you could fully answer that question of saying, I don't need that other stuff because you've been 20 years doing that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah. But what makes my heart sing is joy and seeing people enjoy being in community, being in safe spaces where we feel like we're seen and we're respected and we're valued. That's really where it is. And I had to face adversity. I really think adversity shows you who you are. So when I really was met with so many different things at one time, at 38, I said, oh, wait, I'm in the fire right now. I got to figure out how I'm going to pull myself out. And so to be in a space now at 41, where I'm rebuilding what people know me for, what my contribution is, because it's not television. Like why, and I've had to explain that, like, why do I do television? Because I love community experiences. When you think about live events, why do I do that? Because I love dance and music, but I love community experiences. And then I'm like, okay, if we strip away television, I can still do those things in other ways.
I was chasing the film director title. And that was primarily because I was because I felt that was the way to answer the question of, do they think I'm a genius? Because that was the question my dad posed to me, which was basically like, if it ain't genius, it doesn't count. Like, that's the bar. Mm-hmm. So I was like, how am I going to prove that I'm a genius? Can't do it in my dad's terrain. I like this thing making movies, so I'm going to be a brilliant film director. So every time there was a screening, it was like, do they think I'm a genius? You know, I went to Sundance 2 years in a row with a short film, which is pretty hard to do. And I'm there and like, I was not happy, you know, because I'm thinking like, do they think I'm a genius? Which is a hard fucking question to answer, or like a hard question to pose to find fulfillment at the end of that answer, because it's based on other people's opinions and like my own insecurity. And for me, like when I was like at 37, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to call myself a film director anymore because that's too small. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call myself a story breaker. And that all of a sudden was like, oh, a film director can be a story breaker. A story breaker was like, we all tell ourselves stories, then something happens and it changes your story. But changing my self-title of film director, because film director acts in a certain way. They make movies, they pitch it, they write a script. Film director is like, oh, that's my identity. And everyone's like, oh, you're a showrunner. That's your identity. I was like, I'm a story breaker. Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't say that publicly. And when you're social, they're like, what the hell is that? But for me, it was like, Topaz, you're not a film director. And your goal is not to be a film director. You are to be a story breaker. I'm like, cool. What is that? That's like, I'm going to make stuff that breaks people's stories. So it could be a retreat. It could be a retreat. It could be a card game. It could be an interactive live show. It could be a movie. It could be a YouTube series. It could be whatever. It could be in a conversation, which was super cool because I had times when I was so depressed, and a line from Oprah helped me get out one time. And she says, before you do in the world, you got to be it. I was like, oh, dude, drop into my being. Like, what is that? Yeah. I could be a story breaker just through a conversation. And then it could also manifest in work. But then that gave me permission to like expand and explore the deeper meaning of who I was, because frankly, I hit a lot of roadblocks being a film director. And the ego was there. It's like, why is this friend super successful and I'm not? Well, frankly, because they're just making better, more commercial stuff and they're really talented. And because that's not your path, Topaz. And your thing is not about copying their path, it's about finding your path. So give it a new name, because that gives you more permission to go explore different paths without feeling like I'm leaving something. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? What really moves me, what you say, is the idea of the lineage. It's like my own journey is not my own journey. It's a continuation of everything that I carry that has brought me here. And some things I will continue to carry because I cherish them. And some things I will let go of.
Yes.
I will let go of. And they end here, and I will continue forward, and I will not bring that to the next evolution, to the next line. And I know the line understands that. They're like, thank you.
Yes.
It's not like what you resent my, right? But they're like, thank you. Thank you for healing that. I mean, whew.
I feel a responsibility, but I also feel chosen in that way to carry that and also share that. Because I think that a lot of people forget when you think about history and how even different things in the world are rewritten or burned or whatever the case may be, but that history is always what's true and always was real. And we do need to acknowledge it to then move forward. And you can decide what you're going to bring forward or not, but it's important to know who you are and to know where you come from. And outside of what I said about my family saying that I have a hedge of protection around me, they also have said through the years, I come from good stock. And so I'm reminded of that all of the time.
What's coming to me is like, when I'm hearing your story and listening, is like, you're already affecting the future line, even though it's not biologically yours. Like, you're already have been. Not are, but have been. and continue to be responsible and contributing to future generations, even though they might not be yours by like blood or stock or whatever. Like you're already taking responsibility for future generations. You know, you're having an effect already. I mean, so just a reflection.
Thank you.
Whether you have kids, that's a whole fucking roller coaster having kids. But life is long and there's many chapters.
Yeah.
Life is long and many, many, many chapters. I mean, as you get older, you're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of chapters to this one. Oh my God, what a joy to have so many chapters of I wonder how this is going to feel when I'm 80 and I look back between now and, chapters, many chapters.
Yeah, and it's been super cool. The ride has been great thus far, I must say.
Let me ask you we're going to ask one last question and then we're going to do the self deck, which is how we end these.
Okay.
So one is just if what do you feel life has designed you for?
The word that is coming up for me is breakthrough.
Tell me more.
Breaking barriers, breaking stereotypes, breaking systems, breaking ideologies, streams of thought, like thought patterns. Yeah, like that kind of thing. It's coming to center and being aligned with what is, because man, life will try to define you in so many different ways, but when it comes down to who you actually are and how you show up in different rooms and being a difference maker and being someone that is always looking to create the solution and being a catalyst for change. So yeah, all of those fit.
I really appreciate your time in this convo. We'll play this thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's just I want to flip through it. You're going to tell me when to stop. I'll read out the question and we could answer it or not. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
You could answer it or not. It doesn't. I just found sometimes these things are like top half or bottom half. I'm holding up the cards. Top half or bottom half?
Top half.
Top half. Okay.
And then out of the top half, the bottom.
Okay, here we go. I'm just going to flick and you're going to tell me when to stop.
Okay. Stop.
What does it say?
What's stopping me really? Huh. So.
Whoa. Isn't that weird? We're talking about breakthrough in this, and then the question is what's stopping you really? It's like, wait, what? How does that land?
So you know what's happening right now, because you said reframing. You use the word reframing. I'll be transparent. I made a whole lot of money as a showrunner. I'm like, okay, what does this look like?
Yeah.
And so that is really where I am right now. So I have a conversation with God every day, because it's like literally what I feel is this is going to be a brick by brick, moment by moment reframing.
Yeah.
We are in a new chapter, and to trust that what is necessary will come. We get to a couple weeks ago. I filed my taxes. My tax return is the biggest it's ever been. I go to my accountant. I go, hey, my business has been upside down 2 years. Like it's been in the red 2 years now because of what's happening in the entertainment industry. And she tells me, Kristen, so many businesses are doing the same. I know that you'll be fine. I know who you are. You'll be fine. Enjoy this return while you can. I'm living off of that right now. I work part-time, Yeah. I don't consider it that. That's not what I lead with. That's not how I lead my life. I'm figuring out what this looks like. So I'm being completely transparent. That's my answer to your question.
Thank you. I think a lot of people are going through that right now in different ways. I mean, not to take away what you're experiencing.
No, I get it.
Especially with, just things changing very fast. I mean,
I share that openly because it's necessary. I think a lot of people feel that they're the only ones
I agree.
I have no shame in saying, you know what? Thank God for my credit cards. I had zero debt for a while. I had workshops around being debt free. And I said, you know what? I need to use my credit cards right now. And thank you for them. Yeah. And I know that I have some cleanup to do on the back end. I know that Dre and I will be working together. We've been very transparent about both of our finances. We'll be working together. But we are in a time where things are transitioning and pivoting. And I am showing up fully, and I'm going to throw everything at the wall. And that's where we are. Yeah. That's where we are. Wow. But I can tell you about all the things that are working that I'm excited about, that I'm like, I see the light. I see continuing to site direct. Yeah. I see speaking to people and speaking to universities. I see continuing to do production, maybe in a different way. I see all those things, but it's just keep walking.
Yeah.
Keep walking.
Yes. That resonates so deeply. Really. Yeah. I appreciate this conversation so much. Thanks for sharing so much, eh?
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank you for joining me in this conversation. I hope it had some utility. I hope it offered a reflection of what maybe life is shaping you for, and maybe it offered a missing piece to the puzzle of your life. It was a pleasure for me, and I appreciate your time and attention. Please subscribe to our channel so that you can stay abreast of all the new episodes we have coming out. And until next time, thank you so much.
Guts is a Skin Deep media production. The show is produced and edited by Gonzalo Torres Ocampo, with editorial support from Anthony Cabral, and executive produced by me, Topaz Adizes. Special thanks to all the guests who showed guts, without whom there will be no getting under the skin. Interested in joining our community and following this journey? Visit guts.podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and theskindeep.com for in-depth conversation card games that create the space for connection, intimacy, and deeper conversation.